Hi, and welcome to our video tutorials. We love tweaking standard knitting techniques to improve their form and function. Here's where we demonstrate ideas introduced on our blog with patterns that show how they can be used. Today, we're going to explore knitting pleats. Here's the blue sky alpaca version of the scarf, and I wanted to give you a little video version because I wanted you to be able to actually see how the pleats hold in place. So I didn't wet block this, I just steam it, and you can see that the pleats really do hold. I love the look when you twist them. It really adds a nice look. This one is twisted and then brought up from underneath. You're going to hear a little bit of snow. We had snow last night. There you go. I just really enjoy knitting it and wearing it. Now let's take a closer look at one of the scarves. This is the gradient blue scarf that I knit. It is a fingering weight. It has the most number of pleats, but I want you to see it really does pleat up. This is the right side. The beautiful thing about this scarf is that the right side and the wrong side are the same. It really has two right sides, and you're going to work it that way. The difference being, in order to make it symmetrical, the right side has an odd number of pleats. So you can see this pleat faces forward. It's a showy decrease. There's the one that faces backwards that will be worked on the other row, right? In this particular case, I did add a trim on the side afterwards, and this one gets connected with a spiral crochet chain. I've done something I've never done before, and that is kind of, for this pattern, creating my own charting technique. Because there are two right sides and charts show from only one side, it was simply too complicated looking to use regular charting software. So as always, we have written instructions and charting instructions, and this one's read as you normally would read a chart, from right to left on the quote-unquote right side, and then from left to right on the other side, I'll call it. Here's a simple dishcloth that uses the same idea, but with a right and a wrong side. You can see here that there is a line of vertical showy decreases. The way that you hold the showy decrease in place is you put the increase on the right side, so that when you knit two together going from left to right, the increase on this side holds it in place. There's a partner stitch here. See, this is how much it's raised. There's an increase hidden in here that you don't see because it's eaten by the knit two together on the next row. We're going to do the same thing in the pleated pattern. However, we're going to have 3 garter stitches between, and the next showy line is worked from the other side. It creates a beautiful pleat, as you can see here. The pattern is a multiple of 8 stitches plus 1 because there are 4 garter stitches on the ends and 3 garter stitches in between the pleats. We start the setup right away on the row after the cast on. I'm just trying to avoid the sun here. We're going to knit 3 and now set up for the vertical showy decrease. If you look in your pattern, you'll see that the vertical showy decrease has that partner stitch I just mentioned that's hidden. And the way that it's added here is we do a yarn over and reverse. I'll explain why, and I'll do it the other non-continental way in a moment. And then we knit 1. And now I knit 3. These are the 3 garter stitches in between. And I prepare for the pleat going the other direction by purling 1. Now, in order to have symmetry, we are going to add 1 more forward-facing pleat at the end. So again, I have 3 stitches in between. I'm going to yarn over in reverse. This is a standard yarn over. This is a yarn over in reverse. And then knit 1. And then I'm at the end, so that means I'll have the 4 garter stitches at the end. Now let's turn it over and I'll show you the other side. This second row has two purposes. I will be completing the setup of the forward facing pleats and starting the setup of the rear facing pleat. Again, remember, this is both sides look the same. The only way you're going to tell is the wrong side has an odd number of showy decreases and the right side has an even number. So let's work the 4 edge stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, this is where I set up on the other side for the showy decrease. This is the wrong side of this showy decrease. I slip 1 and I purl 1. The partner stitch to a showy decrease is always a purl stitch. And you'll notice now the reason that I yarned over in reverse is so that I could purl that normally to close the loop. We'll do that again in a second. Here's the rest of that, the 3 garter stitches in between. And now it's time to set up the showy decrease facing this way. So here's my yarn over in reverse and knit 1. That's just the initial setup. Now I have the 3 garter stitches. I slip with yarn in front, which is on the back side of the decrease. And now look, see here, I can purl normally, and that is closed. We do not want an eyelet with this decrease. So here's the rest of my repeat. In your pattern, you would continue on, and then here's that 1 edge stitch. You're not going to actually need markers. I have this here for demonstration purposes. The pattern will show very clearly as soon as you get going. Now we're into the repeat section of the scarf, and you are going to do this all the way to the end until the last 2 rows where you'll get rid of those partner stitches that we just added. So let's work the right side. Here's my knit, my 3 knit garter stitches. And now I'm ready to work the showy decrease. So that is normally a increase and a knit 2 together now that we've set it up. So here's my yarn over in reverse. Again, I promise I'll do it the other way on the other end of the scarf. And I knit 2 together. And then I tend to just give that a little tug so it sits up. Here's my 3 garter stitches. And now I am on the rear facing showy decrease. So I slip it and I purl the partner stitch. We'll talk more about that in a second. Here's my 3 garter stitches. And now I'm going to yarn over in reverse and knit 2 together and then finish up. On the next repeat set, I want to show you how to spot where you are without needing to read the pattern. I've knit a few repeats for you, and I'd like you to notice that it's already starting to accordion for you. And I'd like to make sure that you can spot the pattern in your knitting so you do not need the pattern anymore. It's clear these are the garter stitches, the knit 2 together. Here's the showy decrease. The showy decrease is very simple. The only difference between a showy decrease and a regular decrease is that you join them on the wrong side with a slip stitch. So it's now easy to spot. These are the 2 stitches for the knit 2 together, and then you're going to knit your 3 stitches, but you should be able to spot here, there's that knit 2 together from the other side. But if you just knit until 1 before that yarn over, you will slip this stitch, which is what connects them, and purl this stitch to close it. If you don't like yarning over in reverse, you can yarn over normally and then reorient this stitch to knit it, purl it closed, or you can purl through the back loop. That's something personally that I avoid at any costs. I find that a very awkward stitch. So give the yarn over in reverse a try for a few rows, and I think you'll find that you get the hang of it. Now let's work the final 2 rows so you can see how we eliminate the partner stitch that we had added before. Normally when I get to this showy decrease, I would yarn over and reverse knit 2 together. Now on this right side row, we're just going to knit 2 together And so now you can see that that partner stitch is eliminated and the stitches are all nice and straight. Here's my 3 garter stitches. I will eliminate the yarn over on the other side for the rear facing. And here we go. And then once again, we're just going to knit 2 together. Go to the end. I'll knit fast and just turn this over for you. Here we are. So now we have the garter part. I've closed this showy decreased row up, so I'm going to purl 1 just to keep that smooth line. Knit 3 together. I mean, not 3 together, knit 3. Sorry. And now you can see here, now I'm going to knit 2 together. And so now that line is closed up. And so here is the right side row. Here's the wrong side row. And when I finish up, I can just bind off. There's a lot of different ways that you can wear this scarf. Here's an example of a traditional fold in half and stick one end through. That's pretty. But this scarf also works really well knotted because it is reversible on both sides. With the shorter version, I was able to create a spiral and stick one end out, or it's very pretty twisted with a pin. I knit one version for my son, but that is longer and worn traditionally. Shorter version, I really like this one. I joined the ends as a Mobius and twisted around. It looks really pretty, but here you can see that it is a little bit longer, and I pinched the pleats in one section. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to hearing from you.